And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Thrashers Paradise. I don't know why I'm doing this arm thing. I've never done it before, but yeah, it just felt the mood. Just feels like the mood kind of thing. We're having fun with William, a friend I've made over the past couple of days, who is a musician over in the Calgary area of Alberta. Now, you might have already seen our interview with Narcissistic Necrosis, but this is the span we're going to be talking about. If I can properly speak English and find the right words that I can actually say, this is the main reason. This band is actually one of the main reasons why me and him started talking. We're here to talk about from Morley, Alberta, Dethgod. Now, William, just tell me a bit about what is Dethgod.
So Dethgod as of 2020 is a three-piece Native American death metal band from Morley, Alberta. I've been in the band since 2014. It's me, Blaine Baptiste, and Steve Jones. Blaine Baptiste's been the only constant original member since about 2012, and Steve Jones joined us back in about 2018, I want to say, for drum duties, and he's been the drummer ever since.
Excellent. Now, what did inspire Dethgod to be a Native American brutal death metal band?
So I guess before I joined the band, it was called After Death. Blaine had the original band called After Death with the original lineup members, and a bunch of their songs and their lyrical themes were about like Native American history, Native American war, residential schools, just stuff like that, like more or less like the Native American version of Amon Amarth, if you will.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like that, yeah.
That is cool and totally unique and different.
Yeah, really. You don't see a lot of death metal bands out there that kind of sing or talk about like their own history, culture.
Yeah, no, that's very unrare, and I think you might be the first to really handle that subject matter.
I think one of the first. I think there's a couple death metal bands I can think of from like down in the States, but nothing like too prominent, right?
Of course. No, now the main thing I guess we can really talk about is the gruesome artwork of Don't play the song, don't play the song. Damn, volume's on. No, the brutal artwork of the album, which you will see at the end of the video, it is
that's the censored version, more or less.
It's beautiful. It just catches the eye right off the bat, and you get basically the message clear of who Dethgod is. Now, I guess the main question I have to ask is, was this the ideal first album cover you wanted?
No, it wasn't. It was actually it was meant to kind of be like a T-shirt artwork that our late artist Bradley T. Youngman drew up for us. And then we're like, you know what? This is going to be the CD album cover. And we ended up having to crop it so it's more square to fit in the album cover there. So I don't know if you've seen the original, but the original, you can see like the nun's decapitated body below them and everything.
Okay.
It's not just her head on the album. Like it's her body below the rest of the picture.
Amazing. Yeah. Now, was that created into a T-shirt?
It never was. We looked at the expenses of it, and it was about like 12 or 13 different types of colors, and there's like a specific type of like ink that, like the more colors basically you're putting in a T-shirt, the more expensive it's going to get. It was going to be like $25 per T-shirt, so it just economically wasn't feasible to get into the kind of shirt we wanted made.
Of course, that is fair enough.
Yeah, it's still something we want to explore down the future. Like, it'd probably be more possible with our new merch handler. That was with our old merch handler of what we got from back in the day, and it just at the time it wasn't doable.
Of course. Now, now this album is kind of special because track 3, which is Like Flies to Flesh,
yes,
is able to get played on an Ontario FM station.
Really? Which one?
Well, our show, Thrashers Paradise.
Okay, well, which FM is that?
101.5 The Hawk, which is a college station.
Okay, I'll check it up on an internet radio app.
Yes, we're on TuneIn.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no. Well, we were doing a kind of an expedition, you can say, of Canadian metal music from all across the country,
Right on.
and we were just looking for different bands from all across each province. Alberta was the very first leak, and when I saw Dethgod from Morley, Alberta, I was already hooked and interested, and then just hearing the song, it was amazing. And I guess my main question to you is, what's it like knowing that there is someone in Alberta who loves Dethgod enough to play them on his radio show?
Man, it's kind of mind blowing actually, knowing that we've been played on radio wave, not only just in Alberta, but also in the UK and the States and other countries too, where we've had our publicist reach out for us. It really is kind of like surreal. It's not something I imagined was going to happen when we were recording the album. It was just kind of like record it, get it out there, and who cares sort of thing.
That's totally understandable. But for you personally, where has been the one place where you were kind of surprised to even hear or fathom that your songs for Dethgod were played?
I guess a big one was Spotify, believe it or not. Prior to recording the album, I didn't research how about I was gonna distribute the album digitally, and then I looked into music distributors such as DistroKid and TuneCore, and then I learned about just how easy it was getting our music onto streaming platforms like Spotify, uh, Deezer, iTunes, everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was one thing that kind of blew my mind. Country-wise, we were played in Germany, and that was pretty cool. We sent our about 2 albums to be reviewed by Legacy Magazine, which is a magazine out in Germany.
And that is awesome. What was the review, if you don't mind me asking?
I can't remember. I'd probably have to search up the link for you. It's somewhere archived on our Dethgod page, but we did share the little 1-page or little 1-paragraph article review they did of us. It was a decent review. I can't remember off the top of my head. There was a multiple decent number of interviews we got handed back to us.
That is awesome. But now, and all this was around October 2018 when the album got released. Now, almost 2 years later, second birthday's coming up for the album. What has been the success of the album like?
Well, it's actually been, I guess you could say, groundbreaking for the album, for the band more or less, because we haven't had anything officially released, and being able to put out our own actual recorded music kind of put us on the map and kind of solidified us as a band, because now we were someone as opposed to just a band who played in shows and made merch. Like, we were actually a band that had an album out that was on streaming platforms and that was being reviewed by webzines such as Legacy.
Awesome. Now, as I mentioned, that was almost 2 years ago.
Right.
Where it stands in 2020, when might we be able to anticipate the next Dethgod album or EP?
Prior to all the COVID stuff happened, believe it or not, we were supposed to start recording right in April there, and then all the lockdown stuff happened, and that kind of postponed our schedule with our recording guy. But as it stands, we would like to ideally get back into jamming, this month, coming August, and then rehearse all the old stuff that we had written, and then get another 4 or 5 EP banger out. Probably take us like maybe 6 months to a year at the most. But I'd like to imagine we could have something else out by winter or even spring.
Amazing. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to it.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, when it comes to this next creation, I usually like to say when it comes to an album that hasn't officially been recorded yet, your next creation, what's going to make this different from Disease Called Human?
I think the biggest thing that will make it different is we're gonna try everything we can to record our drums with the acoustic drums. with real drums, whereas the last album, the EP of Disease Called Humans, we had to record with an electronic drum kit. We're kind of limited to the space and the sound room, the sound design setup we had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just ended up running a MIDI kit into whatever DAW our buddy was recording with. And then we had to record snares, bass at one go and then another go with just cymbals and then fine tune everything. Because we had a really finicky E-kit setup, whereas Steve plays really fast. So there was only so many notes that the drum kit could pick up that he was playing. And so we'll listen back to the recording and it'll be like half of the speed he's at because it can only pick up so many MIDI signals. And then so we'd have to go back and fine tune all those extra snare hits or whatever was missing.
Okay, now as we were talking about earlier, Dethgod is a Native American brutal death metal band. Has there been any conversation about maybe including some Native American chants or even like drumming into the future songs?
Definitely. It was something Blaine was looking into because, believe it or not, Blaine plays a really good flute, and there was a couple of melodies he was coming up with as an intro. So we're thinking we'd have some sort of flute, maybe even a drum intro, and then it goes straight into brutal death metal. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's a band from Vancouver. I believe they're pronounced Jiaba. They're Native American death metal. And they have a bunch of songs that start off like that. It's like a flute or like a drum, and it's like Native American singing or chanting, and then it goes straight into like this full-on raw death metal. It's super brutal.
That is awesome.
That's really cool.
I definitely will have to check them out.
Yeah, it's something that definitely inspired us to do it, and it's something we'll probably try to incorporate in the next recording.
Of course. Now, when it comes to, selling merchandise, over the past couple of days, I can say this because this has been occurring, you've been kind of selling out of your CDs.
Yeah.
I know I've purchased one of the very last 10. As of this recording on July 25th, how many CDs are left?
Geez, I got about like 4 CDs left, and one of them I'm holding on to a buddy who's already paid for them. So I guess I technically only have like 3 left for sale. But on top of that, we got about 50 plus patches, a couple just logo T-shirts and church burner design T-shirts. A church burner is this artwork design that we had with this dude burning down this church. This big demonic creature standing behind the church. It looks pretty brutal.
Amazing. And I wish I knew about the T-shirt earlier, man.
I totally would have brought it up, but we only have size smalls and mediums available, so I wasn't sure if we had your size, right?
Never mind. I am sadly not that. I'm a bit bigger.
Bigger.
I'll politely say that.
We do have some more T-shirts coming in of sizes small all the way to triple XL. I think even 4XL, something like that.
Yeah, let me know when you get the largest back.
Definitely.
Awesome. Perfect. Now, I don't know for some ungodly reason why, but this trend has seemed to be happening where it seems to be band after band after band from the West Coast, whether they be from Alberta or British Columbia, for some odd reason, even though it's the summertime, they've been releasing long sleeves.
I've seen that.
I don't know why, but one after another, it's just long sleeves. Deatherus, the Howl Catharsis.
I was just wearing my Entity long sleeve earlier today.
Entity from Winnipeg, beautiful album artwork.
Yeah, I got that on the long sleeve and their logo all the way down the shirt. That looks sick.
Nice. I want to get one. I'll probably get one soon. But has Dethgod had like tiny little conversations about maybe joining the long sleeve cult? I guess.
Definitely. We actually had some long sleeves, believe it or not, back in 2018. And it was funny too because we released them during the summer. We sold probably just a handful because of how hot it was, right? Nobody was out buying long sleeves, but it seems to be a colder summer than has been in the last couple of years this year.
Hmm. Now,
But it's definitely something we want to reinvest in.
excellent, because I'd be interested in long sleeves too. Just you, you keep me in the loop, and I'll let you know what I'll purchase. Okay, man.
Awesome. It's good to know the demand's still out there, right? That's what drives us to keep making the shirts.
No, of course, and I guess that really should be one of the main things is that people are in demand or in. I guess I can't figure out that word. Just you get the point I'm trying to say that people are very interested
Exactly.
in your merchandise. For you, what would be down the line if you ever get to that point? What's the one piece of merchandise you would very much love to be able to create under either Dethgod or even Narcissistic Necrosis's name?
For Death God, we had a couple really cool T-shirt ideas that we wanted to do. Definitely a long sleeve of like the full print album cover, something like that would be really cool. For Narcissistic Necrosis, I can't say there's anything too cool or anything specific off the top of my head. I'd love to make some snapbacks or something like that eventually. I've never had merch snapbacks, and those always seem to be a hot topic, a hot seller between all the other bands.
Actually, yeah, they seem to go crazy.
They do, yeah. People love their hats.
That's true. Now, Death God, coming from I want to say a small town, Morley.
It's the fairly big population, around 6,000. It's actually just Blaine who's from Morley.
Oh,
Yeah.
so how far away is Morley from Calgary?
It's about, give or take, like 50, 40 kilometers. It's about like a 30 to 40-minute drive if you take
Oh,
the
okay.
one going towards Banff. It's about like half an hour before Banff.
Oh, okay. That's not that far. Here I am thinking it's like.
Yeah, it's not that far. It's kind of far to travel for practice, but I mean, it's
Mhm.
nothing crazy or whatever.
No, of course. So when it comes to being from Morley, is there really a scene in Morley, or is it very much your Calgary is your scene?
I would say more or less Calgary has become our scene. I would say there definitely is more a scene out in Morley. There are metalheads out there. There are people who do make the music. There are bands from out there. But Calgary has more or less become like our crowd. That's just where we've always been playing shows for the last 5, 6 years. And that's kind of like where like most of our fans are from,
Mhm.
believe it or not. It's Calgary.
Of course. Now, has there ever been the daunting point of kind of going up a bit to the illustrious Edmonton scene?
Oh, definitely. A couple times we have played out there in Edmonton. We've been out there for the Black Morning Light Music Fest. It's hosted by Dustin Ekman. Yeah, that was pretty fun. We've been out there for a couple CD release shows for bands. But we've been out there about 4 or 5 times, and believe it or not, the Edmonton scene is a lot more, I would say, packed and a lot more, uh, just a lot more active than the Calgary scene. Whereas you go to a local show out in Edmonton, and it's always packed. At least the ones we've played at. In the
Hmm.
Calgary show here, it's they are relatively packed, but just not to the extent that Edmonton shows are that we found. But I guess one factor in that is Calgary did at the time have more venues to play at, and when we'd go play over there, it was just pretty much just the Ron Cruz pub we were playing at. Every time we play there, it's always packed, sold out, pretty much.
Awesome, because from a lot of artists I've heard from out west, it's that Edmonton is very much a very passionate metal scene up there,
It's a total hotspot for it.
which still kind of surprises me of all places out west. It's Edmonton, Alberta.
Yeah.
No, if I ever start a band and go on a Canadian tour, I have to go to Edmonton.
Well, definitely. I guess because the big thing about it is that it's the capital of the province, right? So that's probably a
Mhm.
big thing to do with it, I guess. Believe it or not, there's a huge metal scene out in Red Deer too, Medicine Hat, even Lethbridge. And
Oh,
those are just kind of like smaller sized cities too.
Right. Yes, of course. I've heard of all of them, and yeah, that's kind of still amazing for me to hear. But I guess the one main festival I do know out there is Loud as Hell, based
Drumheller.
in Drumheller, and going through the Metal Encyclopedia page on the internet.
Oh yeah, metal.
Yeah, I found it kind of pretty ironic how they do not have any metal bands from Drumheller listed.
Really, I did not notice that.
Yeah, no,
It's a
it's
coincidence. It
I
seems like there's a band from everywhere, right?
no, exactly. Like you alphabetize it
Yeah.
in Canada, and it's like all these cities. The majority of the bands are from Ontario and Quebec, surprisingly, and even just trying to find Winnipeg bands. The only place in Winnipeg is, or in Manitoba, is Winnipeg.
Pretty much, right?
Pretty much, it's like nowhere else in Manitoba metal exists.
That's what it seems like. I wouldn't doubt it exists, but it's not as wide of a scene as like me and you know it, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Because I did have friends go and tour out there, but now that you mention it, Winnipeg is the only place they stopped in, out there in Manitoba.
See, for me, I would have at least thought maybe Brandon, Manitoba.
Exactly. Yeah, Brandon, maybe.
Yeah, I know it's not the biggest of towns, but it's like maybe the second other Manitoba
Yeah.
city people know of.
Yeah.
But you think, but no, but William, for you personally, what does Death God mean to you
Death God means to me like on like the name or like the band, you mean?
in general? Like, what does the whole thing just mean to you?
Well, to be honest, like if I didn't join Death God, I probably wouldn't be releasing music as Narcissistic Necrosis, to be honest. Like Death God is my main driving point, my main influence. It's where my heart is in music, you know, it's what I've always wanted to do. I
Mhm.
play in the band because like I love playing for our friends and fans. Like I don't care about money. I don't play it to break even or anything. Like I just play it because the exposure is fun and it's a freaking rush to get on stage and everything.
Awesome. Now, the last question I have to ask you is,
Yeah.
what is the 5-year plan for Death God?
Oh man, 5-year plan. Definitely open up for Nile. Release a fucking full length album and tour. Yeah. So three basic semi accomplishable things. Believe it or not, we were like this close to open up to Nile when they were coming through in Calgary back.
Oh,
But
no
as you know,
way.
it got postponed.
Damn it, COVID.
I know, right? The one time Nile comes through.
Damn it. Why? This has ruined everything for everyone.
It really has. Festivals, shows, fucking CD release shows, everything.
Yeah, and like that would have been awesome to be performing with Niall.
It would have been like I'm not sure if you're aware, but last March we opened up for Children of Bodom, and that was a huge accomplishment for us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we opened up for Children of Bodom, Swallow the Sun, and Wolfheart.
Holy shit, man.
It was a good show.
That
Yeah,
that's just I'm just left speechless after that. Like that's
yeah,
just
man. I
awesome.
mean, that's kind of what kind of got our foot in the door for opening up for Nile. It was on our resume, and we put it a part of our press release kit. And we sent it off to their manager, and yeah, COVID happened, and it just got postponed.
Well, hopefully, if they do come back around, you're able to you're open up for them.
Thanks, man. I wouldn't doubt that they're going to reschedule it, right? Tours, like
Yeah.
they kind of have to do that. They kind of just reschedule it rather than cancel the whole thing because bands, you know, they dump all this money into planning for a tour. They can't just pull out. They have to reschedule most of the time.
Of course. But William, thank you so much for joining me again on.
Thank you so much for having me, Nicole.
Hey, you are welcome, my friend. Now, is there anything else you would like to say to the wonderful people watching this on YouTube? And I have no idea what I'm doing with my hands. So
I just want to give a huge freaking shout out to all of our death metal fans, all the Death God fans and the family supported us throughout the years, you know, waited patiently for us to release an album. We're still patiently waiting for us to release a follow-up album. it's coming. We're gonna make our comeback. Gonna have more merch coming out. Hopefully, have a string of shows and tour dates out next year as soon as all this COVID stuff fucking clears up. So thanks for the support, everyone.
Awesome. And William, thank you so much for coming on Thrashers. I do appreciate it.
That was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, my friend. And to everyone watching this, keep on thrashing and make sure to check out Dethgod. Find their album on Spotify, Bandcamp, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music, I guess, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and follow them on Instagram and Facebook because social media is key.
It's pretty much all we got left at the moment.
At the moment, indeed. So keep on thrashing, everyone. Yep, proper devil horns.